Hello, everyone. How can the markets change direction when a controversial leader like Donald Trump returns to power? Imagine a scenario where every tweet, every statement, and every economic strategy sets off a chain reaction, causing stocks to rise and fall, the dollar to gain and lose value, and corporations to benefit from tax cuts. In this video, we'll explore how Trump's recent victory may impact global finance, but also how it may affect our pocketbooks. But these are not superficial predictions. Trump, with his unique style and radical approach to tax, international trade, and regulation, has the ability to change the rules of the game. And that ability to surprise and break the mold keeps investors, banks, and companies on their toes. Join us as we uncover the effects of this victory on financial markets, from Wall Street to emerging markets. We'll analyze how his policies can influence the value of stocks and even the price of oil. If you want to understand how it could affect you as an investor or a consumer, you can't miss this detailed analysis. What does Trump's victory really mean for the economic future? Let's take a look. With Trump's victory, the economic landscape could be transformed rapidly, and several sectors are in the spotlight to benefit greatly. His pro-market policies, especially on issues such as tax cuts and less regulation, open the door for some industries to flourish without limits. Let's see what these sectors are. 1. Energy sector. The energy sector, especially fossil fuels, is one of the big winners from Trump's victory. Already in his first term, Trump promoted deregulation policies that favor giants like ExxonMobil, reducing barriers and opening the door to greater oil and gas production. This time, it seems that it will not be any different. If restrictions are further lifted, these companies will be given the green light to operate at full speed, which translates into an increase in their profits. Donald Trump's bet is clear: increase production and reduce environmental regulations that usually limit the growth of these types of companies. The result? More oil and gas flowing, and with it, higher revenues for the big firms. The shares of companies such as ExxonMobil, Chevron, and Pioneer Natural Resources could benefit if these policies are maintained for several years. So if you're interested in the energy sector, it's worth keeping a close eye on these moves because under Trump, the focus is clearly on unleashing the power of fossil fuels and letting these companies grow without so many constraints. 2. National defense and security. The defense and national security sector is another one that could benefit from Trump being back in power. We know that he is a big proponent of increasing military spending, and that only means one thing: more contracts and money flowing to the big defense contractors. Trump is clear that security is a priority, and that means investing heavily in military technology, defense systems, and cutting-edge equipment. With a focus on maintaining the United States as a military power, Donald Trump is expected to increase the defense budget to record levels. Companies like Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and Raytheon Technologies will likely be in line to receive these contracts, which are often worth multi-million dollars. For these companies, this is pure gold. More investment means more demand for their products, from aircraft and drones to missile systems and advanced technology. This is why the many companies operating in this sector could be in for a golden age. So, this is a good time to take a look at these companies that will undoubtedly be busy taking advantage of every opportunity that arises in an environment of increased spending and support to keep the nation safe. If you find today's content interesting, remember to leave your like and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Let's continue. 3. Automotive sector. The automotive sector could be another big winner with Trump in the White House. And this is because Trump has been a proponent of Made in America, and one of his moves will be to increase tariffs on imported vehicles, especially those from China. This would impact foreign brands, making their models more expensive and motivating consumers to consider national brands more. The administration could also offer incentives for production on U.S. soil, perhaps through subsidies or tax credits, which would encourage automakers to expand their local plants and create more jobs. Not only would this have a positive effect on the overall economy, but it would also build greater loyalty to local manufacturers by positioning them as the go-to providers of affordable, domestically made cars. Companies like Ford, General Motors, and most notably, Tesla could therefore be at the forefront of a favored market, less saturated by foreign competition and with more incentives for local expansion. 4. Infrastructure. With Trump in power, the infrastructure sector stands to gain. Throughout his career, Trump has been a staunch advocate of improving America's infrastructure, which he himself has described as dilapidated and decaying. Their government plans often include large investments in roads, bridges, airports, and transportation systems, seeking to renew the country and give it an economic boost through public projects. The question we must answer now is, why is this? Well, the Trump administration is likely to prioritize infrastructure spending as a way to create jobs and strengthen the economy. Trump also prefers faster, less bureaucratic methods of approving projects, which means that construction can begin much more quickly. Such policies could directly benefit companies that supply construction equipment, such as excavators, heavy machinery, and basic materials. Demand for cement, concrete, gravel, and steel could also skyrocket, benefiting both supplier and construction companies. Thus, Caterpillar, a manufacturer of heavy machinery, and Vulcan Materials, one of the largest producers of construction materials in the country, could experience a significant increase in their sales, positioning themselves as key players in the development of a modern infrastructure under the Trump administration. 5. Pharmaceutical Industry. The pharmaceutical industry is another one that could benefit from a Trump victory. His focus on reducing regulations and limiting government intervention has been a key point for big pharmaceutical companies, as this allows them to operate more freely and without as many restrictions on drug prices. During his previous term, Trump made decisions that benefited this sector, such as eliminating regulations that limited drug prices, giving companies more power to set their prices. On the other hand, Trump's promise to boost innovation also plays into the hands of pharmaceutical companies. Fewer restrictions on testing and approval of new drugs means that companies have more freedom to develop new products without waiting for long bureaucratic processes. This could speed up the arrival of new drugs on the market, benefiting companies that lead the industry. Companies likely to benefit directly from these policies include industry giants such as Pfizer, Merck, and Johnson & Johnson. These companies have already shown their ability to thrive in the less regulated environment favored during the Trump presidency, allowing them to maximize their profits. 6. Financial sector. Under the Trump administration, one of the main goals was to reduce regulations that limited the flexibility of banks and other financial institutions. This was a significant change from the time after the 2008 financial crisis, when regulations were tightened to prevent future collapses. Under Trump, policies were implemented that sought to make American banks more competitive, helping them operate with fewer restrictions. This created a scenario in which banks could take more risks, increase their profit margins, and, in many cases, offer more financial products to their customers. Everything seems to indicate that this will once again be one of his main measures during his new administration in 2025. In addition, tax cuts for corporations could play in favor of banks and financial sector companies. With lower tax pressure, these companies could reinvest their profits in new opportunities or even increase the distribution of dividends to their shareholders, which would improve market perception and attract more investment. All of this translates into a healthier and more dynamic financial sector, where companies can operate with greater freedom and less uncertainty. Banks such as J.P. Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, and Morgan Stanley will then be able to take advantage of this favorable environment to improve their performance, expand their operations, and continue to consolidate themselves as key players in the financial markets. 7. Cryptocurrencies. With Trump's victory, the cryptocurrency sector is experiencing a new wave of enthusiasm. During his campaign, he increasingly reached out to the crypto community, promising to boost the United States as a superpower in the digital world. After his election, many in the crypto community saw a unique opportunity to see how the cryptocurrency market could really take off under his administration. Within a short time, Bitcoin, the most important cryptocurrency, rose by 9%, demonstrating investor optimism in the face of Trump's promises. The president has said he wants to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve and boost cryptocurrency mining. Furthermore, with a more pro-crypto Congress, friendlier laws are expected to emerge that will facilitate mass adoption of cryptocurrencies. This is fuel for companies in the industry, which benefit from a friendlier regulatory climate. Companies like Coinbase, MicroStrategy, and others are positioned to see a significant increase in their operations if these policies are implemented correctly. Now that we've seen which sectors could benefit from a Trump victory, it's time to explore which ones could lose out. That is, while some sectors could see a big boost, there are others that could face significant challenges under his administration. Who are the biggest losers? 1. Renewable Energy Sector. It looks like renewable energy will have a tough time with Trump back in the White House. His approach is clear: more oil, more natural gas, and goodbye to clean energy. Trump has made it clear that green energy is, in his opinion, a fantasy, and that what the United States really needs is to make the most of fossil fuels. He has already promised to boost fracking like never before. His plan is to fill the strategic petroleum reserve to the brim, open new drilling rigs, and give the green light to more pipelines. It is as if he wants to turn the United States into the Saudi Arabia of the 21st century. Meanwhile, the renewable energy sector could face difficulties. Trump has made clear that his plan includes cutting funding for green initiatives. Renewable energy companies like First Solar and NextEra Energy will likely need to adjust quickly to this new landscape if they want to remain competitive and avoid falling behind in the market. 2. Media. With Trump back on the political stage, the media may face even tougher times. During his first term, he did not hesitate to attack those who did not align with his vision, calling many outlets fake news and constantly questioning the veracity of information. With his return, this attitude is likely to intensify, creating a tense and hostile environment for traditional media. Rumors suggest that he could try to change defamation laws, which would put journalists under additional pressure. Ultimately, companies like Disney Company, which owns ABC News, and News Corp, which controls influential outlets like the Wall Street Journal, will have to navigate this tricky terrain. It will be interesting to see how these big companies adjust to continue operating in an increasingly polarized environment. 3. Technology and social networks. If Trump were to return to power, the tech and social media sector would likely face stricter regulations, especially in content control. During his previous term, Trump criticized platforms like Facebook and Twitter for limiting free speech and sought to amend Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which protects these platforms from liability for user content. Removing or weakening this law could increase the regulatory burden on companies, affecting their business model and exposing them to more lawsuits. Trade tensions could also escalate again, impacting the supply chain for companies like Apple that rely on components made in China. Restrictions or bans on Chinese apps like TikTok and WeChat could also be reintroduced, complicating operations for tech companies in both markets. U.S. manufacturers would face higher production costs, which could impact prices for products like iPhones and other devices. In conclusion, Trump's victory marks a new stage for the economy and markets, full of opportunities but also risks. Some sectors may benefit greatly from his policies, while others will have to deal with more obstacles. In the end, the markets will be watching every step his administration takes, and investors will have to proceed with caution and a good strategy in mind. Do you plan to invest in any of these sectors after Trump's arrival? Leave us your answer in the comments. If you like this content, remember to give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video. I'll see you soon.